A Florida mother is accused of intentionally driving her car into the ocean with her child inside. This is cell phone video that shows the SUV about 50 feet offshore. The child told police his mom was parked on the beach just staring at the water. Then out of nowhere, she floored it, driving right into the water. People immediately jumped in to rescue the two, but when deputies got there, the woman was trying to drag her son back out into the water.
The fact that she took him back in the water right after some people rescued him shows that she's not mentally stable.
The mother was arrested and faces multiple charges, including cruelty towards a child. Investigators have not yet determined, though, a motive in this.